Welcome to Silent Psychology. This is not a loud channel. This is a truthful one. Have you ever forgiven someone and stayed hoping they'd change? Have you ever held on to anger because letting go felt like losing? Have you ever wondered why the strongest thing you can do feels like the quietest? Most people think forgiveness means reconciliation, that if you forgive someone, you have to let them back in. That leaving means you're still holding a grudge, but that's not how it works. Forgiveness and leaving can exist together. In fact, sometimes they have to, because forgiveness isn't about them, it's about you, and leaving isn't about anger, it's about peace. This video is about the silent exit, the kind of departure that doesn't announce itself. That doesn't seek revenge or validation. That just quietly closes the door and walks away. And why that might be the most powerful thing you'll ever do. Chapter 1. The illusion people believe. We believe forgiveness is a gift you give to someone else, that it's an act of kindness, of grace, of letting them off the hook. We believe that if you truly forgive, you stay, you work it out, you give second chances, third chances, as many as it takes, because leaving means you're bitter, unforgiving, unable to let go. But that's the illusion. Forgiveness doesn't require your presence. It doesn't demand reconciliation. It doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. Forgiveness is releasing the weight of what they did so it stops controlling you, so it stops living in your chest, so you can move forward without carrying them with you. And sometimes moving forward means moving away, because you can forgive someone and still recognize they're not safe for you, that their patterns haven't changed, that their apologies are words without action. You can forgive them and still choose yourself, but most people don't understand that. They think forgiveness and departure are contradictions. So they stay and they suffer quietly, believing that's what forgiveness requires. Chapter 2. What people don't notice. Watch how people behave after they've been hurt. They forgive, they say the words, they try to move past it, but they don't leave. They stay in the same relationship, the same job, the same environment, with the same person who hurt them, and slowly something changes. They become quieter, more distant. They stop sharing, stop trusting, stop being themselves. They smile when they're supposed to. They show up when expected, but they're not really there. They've forgiven, but they haven't freed themselves because they think leaving would mean the forgiveness wasn't real, that it would prove they were holding onto resentment, so they stay. And the wound never fully heals, it just closes over, still tender underneath. And every small thing reopens it. A comment, a behavior, a reminder of what happened, and they feel it all over again. The hurt, the disappointment, realization that nothing has really changed. But they don't leave, because leaving feels like failure, like giving up, like admitting they couldn't make it work, so they endure and call it forgiveness. Have you ever stayed somewhere you'd already outgrown? Chapter 3. The psychology behind it. The mind associates leaving with loss, and loss triggers fear, fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear that leaving means you wasted time. So the brain resists. It finds reasons to stay. It minimizes the harm. It focuses on the good moments. It convinces you that things will get better if you just try harder. This is called cognitive dissonance, the discomfort of holding two conflicting truths at once. You know you deserve better, but you also believe you should stay. You've forgiven them, but you haven't forgiven yourself for staying this long. So the mind chooses the path of least immediate discomfort, staying, because staying is familiar, and familiar feels safer than unknown. But here's what the mind doesn't calculate. Staying in a place that hurts you doesn't just cost you peace, it costs you growth. It costs you the version of yourself you could become if you weren't spending all your energy managing pain. Forgiveness without boundaries isn't forgiveness. It's self-abandonment. You're forgiving them at your own expense, prioritizing their comfort over your healing. And the mind allows this because it's been conditioned to believe that leaving is selfish. That self-preservation is cruelty. But it's not, it's survival. Chapter 4. How people hide it. Some people hide behind optimism. They say things like everyone makes mistakes, or nobody's perfect, or relationships take work. And those things are true, but they use them as shields, as excuses to tolerate what shouldn't be tolerated. They perform hope. They convince themselves and others that staying is strength, that enduring is noble, but underneath they're exhausted. They're just too afraid to admit it. Some people hide behind guilt. They think about leaving, but then they remember the good times, the history, the effort they've invested, and guilt stops them because leaving feels like throwing all of that away, like saying it never mattered, so they stay, not because they want to, but because leaving feels like betrayal. And some people hide behind identity. They've built their sense of self around this relationship, this job, this situation, and leaving would mean redefining who they are. Facing the world as someone different, someone they're not sure how to be yet, so they stay. Because staying lets them keep the identity they know, even if it's killing them. Society rewards this. It calls people who stay loyal, committed, strong, but staying when you should leave isn't strength, it's fear dressed as virtue. Chapter 5. The cost of ignoring it. When you forgive someone but don't create distance, something happens. You start to lose yourself, not dramatically, gradually. You stop voicing your needs because you've already forgiven them for ignoring them before. You stop setting boundaries because boundaries feel like unforgiveness. You accept less because you've convinced yourself that acceptance is the same as peace. And slowly you shrink. You become smaller, quieter, more accommodating. You forget what it feels like to be treated well, to be valued, to exist without constantly managing someone else's impact on you. And the saddest part is, you think you're doing the right thing. You think you're being mature, evolved, spiritual, but you're not healing, you're eroding. Because forgiveness without self-protection is just another way of staying in harm's way. And you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't love from a depleted heart. You can't grow in soil that's poisoned. The cost of staying is the life you could have lived if you'd chosen yourself. Chapter 6. The moment of self-realization. Now think about where you are. Is there someone you've forgiven but still walk on eggshells around? Is there a situation you've accepted but still drains you? Is there a version of peace you're pretending to have because you're afraid of what leaving would mean? Forgiveness doesn't mean you owe them your presence. You can forgive someone for being who they are and still decide that's not who you need in your life. You can release the resentment without reopening the door. You can let go of anger and still protect your peace. Because forgiveness is internal. It's for you. It's the decision to stop letting what they did control your emotions. But leaving is also for you. It's the decision to stop letting who they are control your future. You don't have to choose one or the other. You can do both. Forgive them and leave, not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly, firmly. Finally, Chapter 7. Uncomfortable truth. Here's what people don't want to hear. Some people don't deserve access to you, even after you forgive them, not because they're evil, but because they're unsafe. Because their presence costs you more than it gives, and you're allowed to honor that. You're allowed to forgive and still say no, to wish them well from a distance, to release them without inviting them back. This isn't cruelty, it's clarity. You're not holding a grudge. You're holding a boundary, and boundaries aren't walls built from anger. They're lines drawn from self-respect. The strongest exits are silent. No explanations, no justifications, no attempts to make them understand. Just a quiet acknowledgement that this chapter is over, that you've learned what you needed to learn, that you're choosing differently now, and you walk away, not with bitterness, but with peace, because the real power isn't in making them pay, it's in refusing to pay any more yourself. Final chapter. Closing. Forgiving someone doesn't mean they get to stay. It means you get to leave without carrying their weight. The silent exit is not weakness. It's wisdom. It's choosing peace over proving a point. It's releasing both them and yourself. If this video made you think about someone or something you've been holding onto, let me know. Comment one word that describes what you're feeling right now. And if you want more of this kind of truth, subscribe to Silent Psychology. This is where understanding lives. Silence reveals what words hide.